And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Testimonial Tuesday. And we are here today, as always, to give y'all a deliverance of a beautiful testimony. Somebody that has walked in their victory, has been awesome through their victory, and now they're giving you their transparency to their testimonial on Tuesday. We have my co-host, Lyrica Seven,
Hi
and we
guys.
look, and I ain't gonna pronounce your name wrong. I'm gonna call her Coco, but pronounce your name correctly.
It's Carmaria Coco Fenton. So
All
everybody calls
right.
me Coco though. So
So we're gonna go with Miss Coco tonight is in the
Yes.
building, and she is gonna bless us with her beautiful testimony. So first, can you tell everybody who you are and where you from?
I am from Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where I live, but I'm actually from a small town called Maple Hill, North Carolina, which is about 30 minutes down the road from where I am now. As far as about who I am a motivational speaker, about to become a certified life coach, a Christian counselor. I am about to write my first book. So that'll be published soon. And I just got a lot of stuff going on. So the rest I will let y'all know when it goes out. So I'm starting a lot of stuff. So you know,
And I'm loving everything we
Uh,
hearing. I'm loving all of that, all them blessings that's coming. So, can you tell the audience on, how you started your journey?
well, as far as being a motivational speaker, it actually started with church. Um, it started with a lot of churches calling me to actually come and give my testimony, like you guys did
mhm.
tonight. And then once I started giving my testimony, they was like, you got so much more in you to share. So it kind of just took off from there. I started traveling a lot, which is not, I mean, I travel all the time, but I started traveling a lot mainly just to do that. And then I started teaching seminars on how to just overcome, how to change your mindset and that type of thing. Because that's
Nice.
pretty much where the start was. I had to, I had so much going on health wise. That was what really did it for me.
Now, health wise, as far as health wise, what was going on?
Ooh, okay, so let's start.
He's like, okay,
Um,
let's get into it.
yes, that's really where the business of the testimony comes from. So back in 2007, I was actually diagnosed with two different autoimmune diseases.
Mm.
That they could not name at the time. So they was actually just I was just like the guinea pig at the moment.
Um,
They thought I had ALS. And then when it came out not to be ALS, they thought I had MS. So it was pretty much crippling my body though. It got to the point where I slowly got to the point where I could not walk.
Mm.
mm.
So I was immobile for almost 10 years straight.
Wow.
I did not start walking again on my own with like a walker assistance until 2017. So a long time, you
Wow.
know.
Yes.
And I tell people all the time that if you don't know what it feels like not to be able to move, when you
Mhm.
can move, you don't stop moving. So,
Mhm.
once I was able to started walking, even though I had to walk with a walker, that was fine for me. My whole point was I was moving. So, but that went from 2007 up to 2017. Then after 2017, it got to the point where I could not eat. So everything that I would eat, like a normal person, it may take you 3 or 4 hours to digest what you eat. That's not what happened with me. Anything I would eat would go through me in less than 30 minutes.
Mm.
Mm.
But once it went through me, it did not come out. So where everybody else's bodily functions does what it do, mine did not work that way. My colon and my intestines actually were slowing down and they were not working properly. So I went through that from 2009 up until 2020. In the year of 2020, last year I actually had 13 different surgeries to repair my
Oh,
intestinal wall.
My goodness.
So I had the last surgery in July of 2020. And I'm a lot better than what I was. It was touch and go for a while, but I wasn't worried. So and now I function a lot better than what I used to. So, when I tell people, look, if you ain't got no ailments, baby, you better understand something. Little things that you take for granted, I
Yeah.
don't. I don't.
Right.
Just to be able to eat at all is a luxury
Mhm.
for me. Um,
Absolutely.
because I was on liquid food for a long time.
Mm.
And I had to wear a pick line for a while. Um, so my food came in through a pick line that I had in my arm, and I had to walk around with a backpack on, which actually housed my IV machine in it.
Mm.
So, um, yeah, I have I have been through some things health wise that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
That's right.
So health wise, it was a struggle for a while, but I tell people all the time that I know for a fact that God is a keeper, and He's a wonderful miracle worker because He has healed
Right.
me. They also told me that due to all of the surgeries that I had, that I would probably not be able to have children. Well,
Mm.
Mhm.
as of now, I'm currently expected. So
Yay!
Won't he do it?
yeah.
Hallelujah!
Won't he
So,
do it? Yes.
Won't he do it?
so
Yes.
everything that they pretty much told me I couldn't do,
You're
he
doing.
he overrode it, and it's
Absolutely.
all it's all
That's
taking
right,
it's
sis.
all taking place. So, I tell people that um I know him to be a healer,
That's
because
right.
if I was to show you like the images of my insides are literally mangled up, and
Wow.
Mm.
there is no way that I should be able to function the way that I function. So, um, I promise you, I can run 1,000 miles a minute to tell you about how good he is.
Yes.
Listen.
and
Yes.
and and
Wow.
I mean, it just never stops for me. So when it really started with all of the health stuff, that's when my mindset and my level
Mm.
of faith actually changed.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't have faith, because I
Mhm.
always have been one of those people that had it, but you one of those people that got faith for everybody else.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when it's time for you, it seemed like your faith fell short, or it
Yes.
didn't work, type of deal. And I was one of those people. I had all the faith in the world for everybody else, but then when stuff would go on with me, I just be like, okay, God, I trust you. You gonna do what you do, and I just leave it at that.
Mhm.
But when the nail really hit the wire, all of that changed. You
Yeah.
know. So, and then on top of that, not only that, when I first started out with all this health stuff, I gained a lot of weight because I couldn't move. So,
Mhm.
Right.
if you was to look at me now, you probably would be like, no, when I tell you what I'm about to tell you now. In 2017, when I had my first initial surgery before the ones I had in 2020, I was actually 592.
Hold on. Wait. Fall back. You said
What?
you are 592 pounds.
You
Yes,
were right, right, right. Break it
five
down.
592 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And as of right now, I'm actually currently 254.
Look at God.
Woo!
So, yeah, a lot has
Girl.
transpired. Yes.
Wow.
So I'm currently 254 now. Um, and I don't expect to gain a whole lot of weight during my
Mhm.
pregnancy because of
Right,
my
right, right.
surgery. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So
Amen.
yeah. So like I said, I know for a fact that I literally am a walking miracle.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and not only that, I have a great wonderful husband. So while I was going
Amen.
through everything I was going through, he was there taking care of me. As I get ready to get like all of my pick lines and all of that stuff taken out,
Mm-hmm.
my husband falls ill
Mm.
while I'm in the hospital getting ready to get out. But I knew that something was wrong with him. So I
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
kept telling my night nurse, I said, look, I need you to go get me some paperwork so I can discharge myself. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
she was refusing to let me do it. But I knew something was wrong at home.
Mm-hmm.
The doctors literally told me that if I would have waited to get discharged to make it to my house, I would have walked in and found my husband dead.
Oh my God.
So I sent my sister over to my house,
Yeah.
and she got to him just in time. When she walked in, he was foaming at the mouth, and
Mm.
he had been on the floor collapsed for over 19 hours. Um,
Wow.
Are you
um,
serious?
Now,
yes,
what was wrong with him
my
in
husband,
this?
my
Yeah,
husband
what
he
was he
went
diagnosed with?
he went DKA, called diabetic ketoacidosis.
Gotcha.
So
Wow.
what had caused his issue was he did not know that he had an infection.
Mm.
And the
Yeah.
infection caused his sugar to
That's right.
spike up to 1400.
Oh,
Wow.
Um, and when it spiked up to 1400, it literally put him in a coma.
yes.
So when they got him to the hospital, I was actually being discharged at the same time that they were bringing him in.
Wow.
And so when they got him there, they was like, "Well, look, what do you want?" I said, "Look, I just need a room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You give me a room." I
Yeah.
got a room, and some of the nurses at the hospital knew me. They all came in the room with me. I said, "Look, if you're not gonna pray, I need you to go out and shut the
I know
door.
that's right.
Yeah.
If you
That's
go,
right.
you got a prayer life,
Absolutely.
I need you can come in the
That's
room with me.
right.
But this is what I need to do right now."
Mm-hmm.
So we all got together. We sent up a prayer, and I asked God. I said, "Look, I need you to do something for me within 7 days." I said, seven is the biblical number of completion. So
Yes.
I said, look, I need you to complete this thing within 7 days because the medical people will tell you that the longer he's in the coma, the less time that he'll
Yeah.
make it. So actually, I'm gonna tell you how good God is. He was in a coma. They was expecting him to be in a coma for a long time because of how bad his situation was. He woke up on day 4.
Oh,
Mm.
So uh,
Mm.
he
Jesus.
woke up on day 4. Everybody called me and they was like, he's awake because he's pulling his tubes out. And
Yeah.
Yes.
I said, well, look, just get me on the phone, put the phone on speakerphone, and let me talk to him. So they put the phone on speakerphone and he stopped pulling the tubes out. Once I told him I knew where he was and that everything
Mhm.
would be okay, let them do what they needed to do. So
Absolutely.
then right after that, because of how everything went, his toes and everything turned like jet black.
Mm.
Mm.
So they was like, asking me questions like, look, can we chop his toes off? No, ma'am, no,
No.
sir.
No, that's right.
You're gonna send him home with all 10 toes, all 10
Just,
fingers.
yeah. Just
Mm-hmm.
Come home with nothing, So
right.
no, and when they was like, but he needs help, I said, don't worry about it. He got it, you know.
That's right.
So everything that I told him, I said within the next 6 months, when y'all go to check his sugar again, he won't even have it.
That's right.
And sure enough, when they went to go check his sugar again in the next 6 months, they took him off of all the insulin. Um, his toes went back to the normal color, all
Amen.
of that stuff. So, I tell people, I said, look, I believe in the God that I serve.
Hello.
You can try to tell me whatever you want to tell me, but I know
Right. Exactly.
that,
I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
with
right. I'm aware. Yeah. And
Wow.
the wonderful thing about the situation, it was bad how it happened to him, but that
Mm-hmm.
was his first encounter with God himself. So
Gotcha.
that
Yeah.
got him into his own relationship with
Yes.
God,
Right.
and it brought him closer to God at the
Mm.
same time. And
Mm.
he told me, he was like, now I understand.
Right. Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
right.
So,
So when you said now
so
he understood.
he understood. He didn't have to really search and have. Now he had his own understanding instead
Right.
of
His
looking to you.
own
He
personal
had his own
experience.
faith.
His own personal experience. He was like, so
Yeah.
now he was like, now I understand. He was like, now I understand why you can say the things you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
Wow.
you can react the way you react when it comes down to the things of God. I understand. I get it now. So, for him, for that to be his thing, that was
Yeah.
awesome for me, you know. But I was just excited about what God did. And all of his whole medical team was blown away.
I bet they were.
They was like everything he said was
Right.
what happened. And I was like, yeah, I said, because I said the Bible tell you to speak on
Yes.
it like it already
Mm-hmm.
took place.
Yes.
And so I spoke on it like it was already done.
That's
And
right.
I left it at that. No need for me to worry myself. I said,
Hmm.
because when y'all first got him there, y'all told me to go ahead and make funeral plans.
Mm.
See?
I said, you counting them out already. I
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
no, you can't tell me that. Do you know who? No.
They don't know.
They don't know.
let me go home
They
and
didn't
get on my
understand who y'all
no.
was.
They didn't
Right.
understand. I was like,
Yeah.
let me go home and get on my face. Let me
That's right.
let me push
Come on
everything
now.
away. No, I ain't
That's
got
right.
no time for y'all. So yeah. But
Wow.
I tell you, God is awesome.
Yes, he is. Now, question during your journey when you first was getting diagnosed, like how much did you question your faith, or you just knew he was going to turn
Mhm.
your situation around? Because we go through these situations and we have those doubtful moments. Because I remember I had the questions of why me. I've been, because I've got the autoimmune deficiency, issue.
Yeah.
So I question it, but now I start to understand it. So how was your faith journey when all of it started piling on you at
When it
first?
first started, I was just like, mm. I was like, okay, Lord, now you said, so I started, that was when I really started giving him his word back
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't do that. I didn't do that before.
Mm-hmm.
That was what caused me to do that. I was like, you said,
Mm-hmm.
your word says that
Yeah.
you came that I might have life and
Yeah.
have it more abundantly. This don't seem like abundance to me. That's where I was. This
Yes.
don't seem like abundantly to me. This seems like I'm going down, not going up.
Right. Right.
There is no overflow here, and this overflow I don't like. So that was
That's
where
so
it first
true.
started. But then I was like, you know what? I said, no matter what it looked like, I got to find you in the midst of it.
Yes.
Yes.
So once
And
I
that's the truth, sis. I mean, I'm glad you said what you said because the thing about when you go through storms and when you go through trials, whatever is inside of you is going to come out.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you have the word inside of you, when those trials and those storms come, that's literally what's going to come out of you. If you do not have the word inside of you, when
Right.
those storms and trials come, that whatever it is going to come out. So I'm glad you said what you said because you had a foundation,
Yeah.
word inside of you. Therefore, when it was tested, the Bible talks about the testing of our faith
Mhm.
and the things that it works out.
Right.
All these things will work out, but it's because you had the word inside of you. So it's so important that we get the word inside of us, that we keep the word inside of us so that when things happen, that's what we stand on. So thank
Right.
you for saying that.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, like I said, for me, I had to find him in the midst of it. I
Yeah.
knew that if I did not see him in the situation, I wasn't gonna make it because I
Yeah.
would have became extremely depressed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time I was married to somebody different, and that marriage ended. He,
That's good.
we split when I was really, really sick. Um,
Mm.
and I felt like that was like just the worst thing ever at
Yeah.
that time, and then it got to the point of where I had been on my own for long time. If you did, for the doctors to come and tell you that you can no longer live alone because it's that bad,
Yeah.
I had a choice. I could either have a living aid, which I did not want,
Mm-hmm.
or I could go and live with my sister, who is a nurse herself. And I knew that I could be, taken care of and cared for by her until I got better. You know what I mean? But I knew that no matter what it looked like, I had to be realistic in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to say, okay, God, well, if you choose, that is my time. I got to get all of this in order. So I
Mm-hmm.
started getting things in order. I called my sister, I sat her down, got life insurance policies, made her a beneficiary, all of that, literally. I got all of my stuff, all my ducats in a row because I was not playing no games. And then when I had my surgery in December of 2019, that's what started all of the surgeries I had for 2020. So
Okay.
when I had that, when I realized that I was literally at death's door, I told God, I said, hold on, wait a minute. If you were to take me right now, I would not be ready.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
no matter how long I've been in ministry, that was something profound for me to be able to say
Yeah.
about
That you wouldn't be
myself
ready.
at
Yeah.
that time. And I was like, if you take me right now, I'm not ready
Mm.
because I have not done what you called me to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have not
Yeah.
I have not
That's
even
right.
made even made a dent and what you
Yes,
told me to do.
that's right.
So this can't happen right now.
That's right.
I
That's
said,
right.
now I'm not gonna bargain with you because I know what you called me to do. So
Mm-hmm.
look here. If you turn this whole situation around, I'm gonna be running 1,000 miles per hour to go and tell anybody I can tell about what you
That's
told me
right.
to say. So
Amen.
after that happened, I literally started doing after I started healing where I could talk and tell people stuff, I
Mhm.
started doing little small live videos on my personal Facebook page.
Okay.
And that's where I started at. And I was just like, I didn't want everybody to see what I had going on. So when I started
Mhm.
doing lives, I would cover up all of my tubes and
Mm-hmm.
stuff
Okay.
like that. But then God told me that I had to let people see
Mm.
what I had going on. At this particular time, they had created a GoFundMe for me because
Mm-hmm.
I needed like a lot of medical equipment that I could
Yeah.
not afford. And I had a friend of mine who I went to some friends of mine that I went to high school with that I never would have thought about in a million years that would have came up and did what they did for me. My high school friends took care of my equipment,
Mm.
and
Wow.
that was a straight blessing for me. Like I was so not expecting it. They showed up at my door.
Wow.
They had the equipment with them when they got here. I
Your
mean,
friends right there.
they were just sending money to my Cash App and was
Nice.
like, look, you do what you need to do. We just want to see you better.
Amen.
And to know that even though I hadn't talked to them in years,
Mhm.
to know that you thought enough of me
Mhm.
to take the time out to do that for me really, really meant a lot for me. And they was like, well, look, when we was in school, you were always who you are. You was that person where you didn't let nobody get picked on. You stood up
Mm.
for somebody else. So hey, you needed somebody to stand up for you, so we got your back. And I was just like, you know what? I mean, I'm a bucket of water, y'all. So it's nobody
Listen, I understand why.
right. So that it was just awesome for me to be able to experience that from them,
Beautiful.
and to see how far I have come. I wouldn't have seen myself where I am now just looking back at last year.
Mhm.
You know,
Wow.
I just would have thought myself still in the healing stage,
Mhm.
and going through what I was going through. But I mean, when I tell you that there literally are not enough words in the language that I could describe to say who God really is. You know
Amen.
what I mean? I mean,
Absolutely.
all of the words that they say about him still ain't enough.
It's not enough.
It's just like that for real on a literal level. And I can tell anybody that literally when it says you gotta have the size of a mustard seed,
Mustard.
Mhm.
that's really all it takes. And I mean, all it takes to set me off right now is just let me think back on one thing,
And then
That's
there
right,
you go.
sis.
right? And I got
Yes.
multiple things that I can think back on, but let me think on one, honey,
Mhm.
and I will tear your flow down in your church.
I know
Just give
this.
me
Hello.
just give me a
I ain't
corner.
ready. I
Right,
ain't
I
ready,
just need a
sis.
corner, and I'm good. You know. So I mean,
Oh.
and I never saw myself as being like that type of that person where
Mm-hmm.
everybody was like, you so much stronger than what you think.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, I really ain't. Like that would be,
Oh my
my
God.
response. I'm like, no, I'm really not. And they be like, yeah, you really are. And I had even my spiritual mom, and I love her so much. Even she tells me all the time. She said, "Honey, I wouldn't try to walk 1 mile in your
In
shoes."
your shoes.
Um, she was
And
like,
you
where you have been and what you had to come through to get to where you at. No, ma'am. Um,
Yes.
and I just be like, that's why I tell people all the time, don't covet what you
Mm.
see somebody else with because you don't know
yeah,
what it took
You don't
to
know the
get
cost
where
of
they
that
at,
oil.
and I
absolutely.
tell people all the time, this is something that I'm always constantly speaking to people. I understand that you say, okay, you like the anointing that you feel that I got. That's great. That's
Mm.
wonderful. You ask God to increase your anointing. Do not ask for mine.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You
Because
might can't handle what you had. So
right,
yeah.
you
That
know, and
is
I tell
cost.
people all the
Yeah.
honey, you don't want to go through what I had to go through to
Yeah.
get
To
where I
get to
am.
yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
I was
That's
like,
right.
he did a lot of crushing to get the oil to come up
Yes.
out of here. And
Right.
I can't, you don't want to be crushed like that, honey. Trust me. And the crushing process still
Listen.
ain't over. But
You know?
right. So I just tell people all
Yeah.
the time, look, this ain't what you want.
Exactly.
Listen, I tell people faithfully, I will not put what I deal with on nobody else
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
at all.
That's
But
it.
am I blessed for my journey? Yes.
Yeah.
But I
Yes.
won't give it to nobody else.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know what? It's true because God gives us the grace because he says he won't put no more on us than we can bear. So whatever he allows us to go through, he literally gives us the grace to go through whatever it is. And
Yeah.
like you guys are saying, that's why you don't covet someone else or you don't be jealous of someone else because you don't know. God gave them the grace to be able to go through what they went through.
That's it.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
You had to go through what they went through. So, yeah, you're right.
Right. I tell people all the time that when I was going through what I went through, I felt like Job and Moses wrapped up in.
Mm.
I felt like I was going through a Job experience, and I
Yeah.
also felt like I was in the wilderness at the same time.
Yeah. Yes.
And that experience for me, I literally stopped like while I was in my hospital bed, and I said it when one of my nurses came in. I was actually waking up, and my husband said that while I was in the hospital a lot, I would wake up praying. Like I was go to
Mhm.
sleep, and I would wake up coming out and still talking about the same prayer, like so. But I found myself and I said it, and I woke up to her like standing over me, and I'll never forget it. And I was like, yeah, I was like, you know what? Though he slay me, yet will I
Woo.
trust him. And
Yes.
when I said it, I just saw her looking at me like that's how I woke up to her.
Chill.
Right. I woke up to her just looking at me like,
Wow.
okay, and she was
Powerful.
just like, okay. She was like, I'm gonna be back in here later. I was like, yeah, you do that. You know, I was like, yeah, you do that. But I mean, even my nurse team, doctors, everybody was fabulous. And
Wow.
at the end, I literally ministered to everybody on my team. That was not what I was supposed to be there for, but I guess
Hey,
you know,
But you
you
know
on
what?
assignment,
He
sis.
put you in that place to do what you
right,
needed to do.
You were still
right,
on assignment.
right. Because when I had I had my surgery on December 19th. That was the first one on
Mm-hmm.
December 19th of 2019. I literally did not come home until Valentine's Day. So that's how long I was
Okay.
in the hospital. And then when I got home, didn't stay home. They ended up calling me. I had to be rushed back, and I was there for like another 2 weeks.
Mm.
So I was literally in the hospital a long time.
In time.
Wow.
And
Yes.
just going back and forth, being put under the knife again and again and again and again. And then when I thought it was done, it still wasn't done. They was like, nope, you got to have one more. I was like, you know what? After this one, it ain't going to be no more. So,
Right.
after July, that was literally the last one, and I haven't had any since.
Anymore.
That is a blessing in itself. But um,
Listen,
I mean, when I tell you,
that's a whole movie
Yeah.
yeah,
all by itself. Right?
Right, Sheena.
Whole movie all by itself.
right. So I'm literally
Girl.
I mean, when I tell you, I can tell you some things. Literally, it's God. It's a but God
Yeah.
situation. Yeah, and that's what I
Wait a
tell
minute. You
people
said
all
you're
the
working
time.
on a book, right?
Yes, that was gonna be the
Okay.
next
Okay.
question. Listen,
Okay.
you can go ahead and ask it. Look, you
Yeah,
can go ahead and ask it because that was gonna be the next question.
Yeah,
yes.
I had to cut in because I'm like, I need to know like what the time frame this book is
Mhm.
about to be released. So, I mean,
Well,
what's
I plan on having it out. It will be done all the way by May.
Oh, okay, okay. Just let me know where I can get my copy because
Yeah,
I'm
it'll be done all the way through by May. So yeah.
Woo.
Now this
And
book
and
is it,
the title of the book is I Survived the Process.
oh, I chose not to ask.
So yeah,
I
yeah,
Such a fitting title too. Oh my goodness, I survived the process. Wow, powerful.
yeah.
Mm.
absolutely.
So
So how did you come up with the title? Like what made you decide to write the book? What made you come with the title? Like
what
what was the process?
the Lord actually told me to write it.
Oh,
Okay.
He told me to write it while I was going through all my health stuff, and I
mm.
didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. I was disobedient.
Oh, uh
Oh,
oh,
uh-oh.
uh
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah. So he told me to write it while I was going through my health
oh.
journey, my health crisis.
Mm,
And I didn't because
mm,
once things started getting
I
bad.
mean, in the first time, sorry, the first time you got sick, that's when he
Yeah.
told you, right? And you didn't
Oh,
listen.
okay.
God,
And I stopped because every time it would get bad, I would just stop writing.
Mm,
And I would just put it down and not go back to it.
yeah, I get
So,
it.
I was just like, why? Because I mean, like I had literally got to that point where I was just,
Mhm.
why write a book that I would probably not get the chance to read
Yeah,
myself?
yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
where I
I
was.
get it.
yeah,
Right. And that's
yeah.
where I was because I was so sick at the time. So
Mhm.
I was like, I'll write the book and never see. That's where I was
That's
back.
yeah.
But then when I had to go through all of these different processes through the not being able to walk, through all of these bone marrow stuff that I had to deal with, all of these different types of infusions because
Mhm.
my body refused to allow me to retain any type of minerals. So
Oh,
I was always depleted of minerals, always fatigued and weak. Um,
mm,
Stuff like that. But I tell you, honey, I had to go through a lot. I had to go through a lot. I'm sitting at the cancer center 3 days out of every week for months on end, trying
Mhm.
trying to feel better.
mm.
People walk in and they like, "Oh, what are you fighting?" And
Life,
I'm looking at
Fighting for my life.
life.
right, and they're like, but when you're in the cancer center, everybody
Yeah,
automatically thinks
they
that's
think
what
it's
that's
cancer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then when you tell them that's not what it is, this is what I got going on. They was like, "Oh, like it's a different type of from
Yeah.
the other type of and it was like, "How many you're here a lot of days out of the week." Yeah, you might as well say
yeah.
I got a permanent bed, you know.
Mhm.
Right.
That's how it was because when I came in, I was on the same bed every day. The same people hooked me up and took me down every day, so it was just like and the process was excruciating. When I tell
Mm,
you you can feel that stuff to your bone and it
Mm.
hurt. I had to be pre-medicated before I could get it. Oh.
mhm.
And then I had to be like I had to have a slow drip on the whole time I'm going
None.
through the infusion
Gosh.
process. And the infusions took anywhere from 2 to 4 hours every time I
I was
was there.
gonna ask you how long, but you answered the question. All
Yeah,
right. Ooh,
from
two
2 to 4
four.
hours every time I was there. So,
Mm.
like I said, people don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't
Like
know.
I told
Yeah.
you, I hid a lot behind a smile
Mhm.
because I never stopped
That
smiling.
mask.
Yeah, I never stopped smiling. I hid a lot behind the
Mhm.
smile. And for people who didn't know until I told them, they was like,
Yeah.
"What?" And they was
Yeah.
like, "Where was I at? I don't know what you're doing."
Listen.
And I was like, "You was around, but you wasn't around
Mhm.
to know that because
Yeah.
I didn't let it didn't show
Everyone.
outwardly
Mhm.
unless you
Exactly.
knew that I was. It didn't, you know,
Right.
I did like the word said you don't let what you got going on show
Absolutely.
outwardly. So even though
Mhm.
I was sick as a dog, nobody knew.
Wow.
You know, I mean, it was even so bad where they had came and put cameras up in my home so that
Mm.
my doctors and nurses could see what
So
was going
what
on.
going on?
Wow.
If I wouldn't move by a
Mm,
certain time, my
mhm.
lead would go off and a nurse was at my door in less than 10 minutes.
Wow.
So like it was bad, y'all. When I tell you
Mm.
it was bad, I had cameras in my house. I had to walk around with these neurological leads stuck on my
Mm,
head
Wow.
for months on end because they had to make sure. I mean, because I was having a bunch of mini strokes and everything. I did
Okay.
yeah,
goodness.
Mm.
I went through all of that. You know, I had 3 mini strokes right back to back,
Oh my
hours
goodness.
apart from each other, and they
Mm.
was like, you should have been left with. I should have been left with like the swirled up face and
Yeah. The,
Mhm.
mhm.
none of that,
Wow.
none of that. And I mean, even in my body, I could tell that some things went on. But as
Mm,
Mhm.
far as having anything outward for you to be able
Yeah.
to tell,
right. You wouldn't be able to tell. Right. Wow. My goodness.
See, God
Learned
give
to
you things
say.
that listen, yeah, we waiting on this book.
Yeah, girl.
Listen, we waiting on this book.
yeah, I mean, and I haven't even touched other stuff. So I mean, like
Listen.
I said, that's just a medical
Look,
journey.
that's
Yeah,
just the medical journey. I know there's another side of that journey that we can talk about though.
yeah, there is
Um,
another side of the journey. Yeah.
can we talk? Can we speak about that other side of the journey
Oh,
now?
sure. Yeah. I mean, okay. So the other side of the journey, if you want to talk about,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, I've even went through the whole rape, molestation, all of that.
Mm,
but my rape and molestation wasn't like other people. You know,
Mhm.
I was raped and molested. I was molested by a family member. Then I was molested by a female family member, and find out years later that that female family member was also molested by somebody else. So that's why she decided to molest me.
Mhm.
Then uh, when I was about between 13 and 14, you know, you got little friends, and your parents feel like it's okay for you to be able to go with your friends. So
Mhm.
my mom allowed me to go to somebody's one of my friends' family cookout. I never came back from the cookout, and the reason why I never came back is I had a group of people that knew me, knew who my family was, kidnapped me, and I was raped constantly for 3 days straight.
Wow.
Nobody never knew where I was. Some people thought that I had ran away,
Wow.
and that was so not the case.
Wow.
I was literally and I was not even 30 minutes away from my home.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
Nobody
goodness.
never knew where I was. And
Mm.
then, that was an experience.
Oh.
I felt like that experience was gonna do me in, but
Mm-hmm.
God just does not allow me to deal with things like other
Yeah.
people. You know, so when he had me start going to a rape crisis center,
Mhm.
I'm supposed to be going to get help from them, but turn it around that I was
Is
helping
there to help somebody else?
there to help them
Answer other
instead.
people.
So at 13 and 14, here I am telling grown people, what it's like, and that you don't have to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
I forgave the people that did it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the main things. They was like, "Excuse me, you did what?" Yeah, because I learned early on in life that forgiveness ain't for them; it was for me.
That's
So,
right.
Amen. Hold on,
I
say that again for the people in the back. Forgiveness is what?
And down
Hold
below. Say
on.
it again. Say
Come
it
right
on,
again.
make sure they
forgive.
heard you. Say
Yeah,
that again.
forgiveness is not for the other person; it's for you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and when I forgave them, it broke something free in me
Mhm.
where I was already feeling like I was in bondage all the time,
Mm-hmm.
because I
Yeah.
was in bondage to how I was feeling. I was in bondage to why somebody would want to do that, constantly do
Mm-hmm.
this to my body without my okay, you
Yeah.
know. And I dealt with that. At 6 years old, here I am, a child already developing, not like other kids because I'm having my cycle at 6,
Wow.
um, and having it full blown like I'm grown
Mm.
at 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, people don't understand when your body parts is doing other stuff that you don't
Yeah.
understand. And I was born premature, so I came out with health issues and a lot of things.
Mhm.
There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
behind my whole story. When my mama was carrying me, she never went to a doctor. So, no prenatal care whatsoever the whole time she was pregnant with me. So
Mm.
it's
Wow.
it's just like, when you go through it, you just like, "Okay, I was meant to
Yeah.
be here because you had no care whatsoever." When everybody found out about me, she was pushing me out.
Oh wow.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So, and then, I had a brother that got killed with me and him have the exact same birthday, different years.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when I was born on his birthday, and he died when I was 2 months old. So
Oh.
he never got a chance to
No
meet.
chance to meet you.
Right, and he was actually coming home to meet me. He was in the military, and he
Oh.
never made it. So, it was just like I was like, okay, like, but I take things for what they are, and I don't believe
Yeah.
in incidents. So I
Yeah.
believe that God already knew the plans He had for my brother, and
Right.
like I was the replacement because I was just, we just happened to be born on the same day.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Wow.
don't take anything for granted. I take it for exactly what it is. I'm gonna call a spade a spade and an ace,
Spade.
you know.
Absolutely.
I try the spirit by the spirit at all times.
There you go.
so,
There you
so
go.
I don't just go off of everything that I see, because your words can move me, but your spirit may not be right.
That's right.
Absolutely, because Lord knows some
Yeah.
people's spirit, they mouth might say one thing, but that
Right.
spirit is
Yeah, so
ugly.
your spirit may not be right, and if your spirit ain't right, Imma tell you about it. So, that's just me. I
Listen.
don't hold it, you know what I
Right.
mean? And that's one of the things that I know that God set me to the side for. When I was trying to figure out what my purpose was
Yeah.
and why you put me here, okay, I get it. Because when I was in the street, I was bold then. It don't mean the boldness stop just
That's
because I
right.
chose to get saved. You just made me bolder in a different way.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
So,
right.
it's still I'm a still no holds barred type of person. So I'm
Right.
gonna tell you like it TI is, and if you don't like it, it's okay.
Hey, look,
Listen.
they
Right.
know what the
That's
door
what you
is.
don't like it, it's okay by me. But I
That's
tell you,
right.
I've been there. I've lived that type of life. I've dealt with, the street life, and I've built with all different types of people. I've been on all sides of the board. I've been the one that living right like I am now. I've been the one that didn't want to live right, and I ran 1,000 miles per hour. You couldn't tell me nothing about God because I didn't want to hear it. I've been there too.
So,
You know,
what changed you to actually come to the faith side of getting saved and being on the right side of the tracks? And while you were going through this, did you have a fighting battle of deciding on if you wanted to come to the other side, or did you want to stay into the to that world? Like, what gave you that push to cross over? Because a lot of us fight that battle of being, you know, in the world, and others fight that battle of being in a different world. So it's like, how did you come to terms?
well, everywhere I went, I was always the eyeball.
Mm.
So,
So how long was you running? Because a lot of us run from it. Like, we know we
oh,
should be in it, but we
well,
run from
at 2 years old, a lady pulled my mother to the side and told her that she had to be careful who she allowed to be around me because the Lord told her who I was when I was
it.
2 years old.
Wow.
And she used to tell my mother, don't allow her to go to a regular daycare. If you want somebody to
Mm-hmm.
watch her, you bring her to me. So I
Mm.
remember this lady at the age of 2 years old, and when my mother was working, that's where
Mm-hmm.
I was. I was at her house, and this
Wow.
lady would sit me down, and she would ask me all the time. She was like, "What do you see? What do you hear?" And this is the stuff that she would ask me, and I would tell her what I saw or what I heard, and
Mm-hmm.
it would never be anything in the natural. It
Right.
Yeah.
would always be
Yeah.
what I could see in the spirit or what I
That's
heard. And
Mm-hmm.
when I told her, she would be like, "You know what? You know how young you are, and older people that's much older than you can't see or hear that."
yes. Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
that happened to me as a kid, you know.
Wow.
And then I was about 14, 15. My mom came, I was in my room crying one night, and she came to me and she was like, "Why you crying like that? What is going on?" And I told her what I wanted. I said, I just want to see my dad. I didn't know who my dad was at that time. Had never met him. And I was like, I just want to see my dad. She said, "Is that really what you want?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, come on, come in the room. Let's pray about it." Literally, we went in the room, started praying. She told me that she felt like the whole atmosphere shift and all of that. I didn't know what she meant, because
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Right.
didn't know what that meant.
Hmm.
And but when I first got a chance to see how God moved, was
Mm-hmm.
the very next in less than 8 hours, my father was knocking on my door.
Wow.
And when he came to the door, my mother just hit the floor. I turned and looked, and she was on the floor. And and he run to the door to get her up off the floor.
Yeah.
When he got her up off the floor, he was like, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "Yeah." You
Wow.
know, and he was like, "Okay." He was like, "Do you know why I'm here?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Because I prayed for you to be here.
That's
That's why you
right.
here." And I left it just at that.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then that started the process of me getting to know him, that type of stuff.
Wow. That
Um,
is phenomenal.
so that was like when I was 14, 15. But where it really, really hit the fan for me is I was about between 19 and 21, and I was a club hopper back then. So
Mm-hmm.
if the club was open, I was there.
You was there.
Okay, right. So if the club was open, I was there. You
Listen.
find
Mm-hmm.
me on the dance floor all night.
I,
That was my part.
I know about that journey. So, mm-hmm.
Right. So, this particular night though, I had got invited to a church service like that Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
So after the church service, the pastor of the church asked me what I had plans on doing, and I told him. I said, I said I enjoyed the service. Service was good, but I'm going to the club.
Right.
He looked at me. He was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "My clothes in the car.
Yeah.
I'm going up the street to my friend's house. I'm gonna take a shower, change my clothes. I'm going out." Yes. He was like, "Will I see you?" So I'm like, "Sure, I'll be right here." And I was so serious, but he was like, you know what? He was like, thank you for being honest with me. I said,
Right.
I said, you know, and he was just like, she's just brutally honest with me. I was like, yeah, you know what you wanted me to lie? Like,
Right.
then he asked me what club I was going to, and I told him.
Right. Don't ask him. You don't want to know.
Right. So I told him that particular night, though, like everybody getting dressed, we all leave the house, we go out, we all in the club having fun. Something seemed a little off that night, but you know how we do.
Mm-hmm.
We play it off and we keep doing whatever we doing. So I played it off and I kept doing. Next thing I know, I feel a tap on my shoulder. I'm thinking it's some dude that I'm gonna have to tell about himself. No, when I turn around, it's the bishop.
Oh.
Yeah. When I turned around, it was the bishop. He said, the Lord told me I had to come get you, and I had to come get you right now.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. I set the drink down on the bar. Right.
Gotta go.
Okay, because you came up in the club to come get me.
Listen,
Look, okay.
this
So
is serious.
right. So I was like, look, I set the drink down on the bar. I grabbed everything I had. I told the people that I came with and the people that came with me, you gonna have to find another way home. Because I got to go. So when we left, literally 5 minutes after pulling away, the club got shot up.
Mm.
So if I would have stayed, I could have been one of the people that got shot.
Yeah.
Looking out.
So that particular time, the bishop once I get back to the bishop's house, because he said he had already talked to my mother, and I said okay. He told her that he had me and I was going to be at his house. I said okay, fine. He was like, we'll go back and get your car tomorrow. Okay, fine. So when we get in his house, he said the Lord woke me. He said the Lord refused to allow me to sleep until I came and got you. Because he wrestled me out my sleep.
Wow.
Okay, and I was like, okay. I said, so what did he say? He said, the Lord told me to tell you that you got a great call on your life.
Yes.
If I would have allowed you to stay, you would never have walked into that purpose. And I was like, okay. So after that night, I said, so now what? And that was what I said to him. I said, this is what you're telling me. I said, obviously, you know, I was obedient because I left with you. So this is what you're telling me. Now what? What's the next step? That was how it started. And when he told me what the next step was, he said, all you got to do is accept him for who he is. Okay. And I said, okay, just like that.
I love it. I love it.
He was just like, I can't with you. Like, you know, that type of thing. And then like I decided to, like I said, okay. And then right after that, the church was having a revival. So when the church had revival, they was going to have revival every night for 40 days straight.
Wow.
And I said, okay. He said, but this is the kicker. He said, have you ever been on a fast before? I ain't never been on a fast. So my first real encounter with God was then, because I went on a 40-day fast. I did exactly what he told me I needed to do. I did what the Lord told me to do, though. You see, that's the difference.
Yeah.
What God told me.
Yeah.
And I went through the whole 40 days. I started it out like eating lean meat. By the time I made it to week 2, I cut all meat completely out. By the time I was on week 3, I ate no meat at all. It was just vegetables and like water for me. And then for the last 2 weeks, I did nothing. So, and that was my first fast ever. So imagine that, like, you know, and then every day, like I'm in prayer constantly throughout the day. So, you know, I'm like, okay, but the Lord told me, he said, tell me what your expectations are. He said, and I will grant them the very last day of the fast. And I said, okay. I said, I got a long list. That's what I said, you know. But it really wasn't that long. It was only like, but you know, in your brain, if he tell you that, you like, wait a minute, you know. Right. But I only really had 3 things that I wanted. I said, I just want to have a closer relationship with you. I said, I don't want to be fake and phony about it.
Mhm.
And since I was told that I needed to have the Holy Ghost, I think that that's one of my major requests from you is that I need to have the Holy Ghost by the time this is over. So that was all I really asked. But on the last day of the revival, just like he said,
Amen.
everything that I asked for, including the Holy Ghost,
You
Wow.
will receive.
a visiting pastor came to visit the church.
Mhm.
And oh, and I had also asked, I said, Lord, if you only do it one time for me, I want my whole entire family in church with me. And
Wow.
my whole entire family literally showed up. I had family fly in from New York that I didn't even know was here.
Wow.
And
Wow.
came and was in the service with me.
Amen.
Everybody was literally there. They were walking in the doors, and when they was calling me up to come up to the front, I didn't even know they were there.
Wow. Oh my
So,
goodness.
and then I was just like, I was already trying to hold it together because my whole family was there. I was like, okay, you already gave me one.
Wow.
What else you about to do? When the
Mhm.
visiting pastor called me out, he said, I need you to come up here to me. Okay. So I'm thinking he calling me out because my bishop done told him something. He said, nope, I ain't
Mhm.
had no conversations with him at all. Got me up to the front and he said, I was told that y'all was on a 40-day fast. He said, that's the only thing I was told. He said, but the
Mm.
Lord just told me you was the only one that completed it.
Mm.
Out of the whole entire church congregation. He said, the Lord told me you was the only one that actually completed it and completed it for real. And I was just sitting there like, wait a minute, it's the whole church full of people. Like that was like my whole
See?
thing, right? And I was like, look, I'm the newbie.
Right,
I'm
right, right, right. The Lord called everybody
just
out.
right. I was like, wait a minute, but I'm the newbie though.
But
Right,
everybody else on first grade.
right. I was like, y'all know about this stuff. I didn't. Wait a minute, hold on. In my brain, that's where my head was at.
Right. Yes.
I was
Yes.
like, okay. And then he was like, if you could pick one person out the crowd that you want to see God heal right now
Ooh.
from a situation, who would it be? And
Wow.
nobody knew that I was going to point at my mother. My mother had been battling some health stuff.
Mm.
And at the time, she could barely walk herself.
Mm.
When
Mm.
she came in walking with assistance, but when she walked out, she walked out on her own.
Wow.
Okay.
And I called out my mother.
Won't he do it?
Yes.
So,
Oh my
and then
goodness.
after that, he was like, I'm not even going to touch you. He took a rag that he had in his hand, wiped his face with it, and threw it on me. When it
Mm.
landed on me, I automatically started talking in tongues and couldn't stop. So
Wow.
it was
Oh
just like,
my
it literally felt like I was on fire at the
goodness.
time. Literally, that's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't stop. And a lady that came in with him stood up from the back of the church and interpreted everything I said. So when she did that, she said, I'm gonna tell y'all something. She was like, this young lady here, she was like, I don't know, who you are. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
but she was like, you are so much on God's mind right now that it ain't
Mm-hmm.
even funny. And
Wow.
I just looked at her like, you, like, well,
Okay.
thank you. I was like, it's good to be. I was like, it's good to be on somebody's mind. Like, I was like, but she was like, you are so much on his mind right now because there's something that he needs you to see and something
Mm-hmm.
you to understand. And right after that, that was when it just started happening and happening and happening. When I say I would have open visions,
Mm.
it would
Mm-hmm.
come like a movie reel playing in front of my face. I wouldn't even have
Mm-hmm.
to sleep anymore. So it was just so crazy after that. Even now, like it still takes me back sometimes. I could be dreaming about something, not be sleep, wake up, and what I was dreaming, I'll walk into it. So
Mm.
it's like currently literally already manifesting itself. And I'm just like, you know what? God, I ain't messing with you today. Look, my arms are too short to box with you, dude.
Right.
Like I can't. So that's where I be like for real, for real. People don't like if some people just may not understand, but
Yeah.
for me, it's just that real, and it's like that all the time. And I tell people, I say, look, it's not like it's a light switch. I can't turn it on and I can't turn it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
all the time for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some things I can speak on at that time, some things I can't. If
Yeah.
he to me and it's dire and he tell me that I have to tell you, then I tell you. But if he tell me to shut my face, I'm gonna shut my face. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I've learned to really, really be obedient to what he
Mhm.
said. And that part has been new for me because literally I did start walking in total obedience
Obedience.
until between last year and this year.
Mm-hmm.
And this year just started. So you catch what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
to
Yeah.
really walk into total obedience just started happening because before that it wasn't, I would do what he said, but then certain things he would tell me to do, I'd be like, you really want me to go do that? I can't do that right now. Like,
Right.
I can't. You about to send me over here to these people, and they not finna accept what I gotta say. This was my conversation.
Trying to
This
set me up.
right. This would be my conversations with him, and I'd be like, they're not going to accept me because
Yeah.
a lot of people who knew me, especially when people know you,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
nobody,
Say that.
like, who are
That's right.
you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm nobody, but obviously, in
Mm-hmm.
my brain, to me, I'm nobody either. I'm just being
Yeah.
used at the moment. That's
Exactly.
it. And I tell people all the time, first of all, you got to always remain ready because you don't never know what he gonna have you do, what capacity he gonna use you in, and how he gonna use you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you could just be used as an example one day, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what side of that example you gonna fall on,
Yeah.
whether it's good or whether it's
Yeah.
bad. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, there's an art to all of it. With every action, there's a reaction. With everything
Yeah.
you do, there's a consequence. And I tell people all the time, look, some of our
Mm-hmm.
the consequences of some of the things you did, even though you did them years ago, you're reaping them consequences now. They didn't happen for
Absolutely.
you back then. They happening for you now. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, there's an art to sowing and reaping.
That's
But everything you do,
yes.
you gonna sow.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying? So everything you do, you gonna reap. So at
Yes.
the end
Right.
of the day, that's why I make it real careful to be very mindful of
Yeah.
what I do and what I say.
That's right.
Because I ain't gonna lie to nobody, and it ain't a brag thing. It's not a bragging
No.
thing.
No.
I know I have to be careful what I say
Yeah.
because I have watched myself say something, and it happened right there, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
ooh, ooh, and now it's a ooh because you can't take it back.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So even with that, I'm very slowful, even when I pray certain types of prayers with people, because I don't want to say certain things, because certain things, any words you use, once they come out your mouth, you
That's right.
cannot
That's
take them
it.
back.
That's
You
it.
know,
Yep.
and I tell people all the time, even your thoughts, you
Mm-hmm.
gotta be careful about.
Yes.
Because your thoughts, if they sit and linger too long, they become an action. And once they
That's
become an
right.
action, that's it.
That's
You
right.
know,
The
so
reality. Yes.
right, so I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, like if anybody could take anything away from what we talking about here tonight, is first of
Mm-hmm.
all, be mindful of your time. Time is the one thing you lose every day and you
That's
can't get
right.
it back.
You can't get back.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And you cannot get it back. So be very mindful of your time because I literally had to pray and ask God to restore years for me. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Because I
Mm-hmm.
knew I had lost time that I could not get back. And I lost time not sitting here thinking like, well, look, at the end of the day, I understand that I was sick, but in my sickness, I dwelled too. And when I started dwelling too long, I was allowing life to slip away. And while
Mm.
I was allowing life to slip away, I was not doing what he told me to do.
Yeah.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because I was
Yeah.
I was too much having a pity party.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so now I got to make up for the time
Yeah.
that I
And just
lost.
dwelled on.
I've been making it up for a long time, trying to go back to the time that I lost. So I asked him to restore. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So that's why I tell people you got to be careful how you word
Absolutely.
a thing. You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, at the end of the day, your only cause to anything that you don't do is you. It ain't about somebody else. And I tell people all the time that you could be walking around. You see, cute. She coming with
Yeah,
everything
I
I say.
love it. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. Little
Because she
cute.
coming with everything I say all the time. But I
Come
tell
on.
people all the time that where you think you might be living, you not. You just existing. And if
Mm-hmm.
that's all you doing, then baby, that's not a life that you need to have. You know
That's
what I mean?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, if you're not happy, if you can't wake up and do what you're gonna do with a smile on your face, baby, that's not living.
that.
No,
Not living
it's
at all.
not.
You
Yeah.
existed
Tell
and
the
you
truth.
in a routine and you just existed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
You just
so a lot of people don't understand that a lot of their life has now become routine.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get out of the routine.
You gotta get uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, and your comfort zone really ain't even what you think it is.
No,
Right.
it's really
Comfort
not.
is not the word. I mean, what comfort do you have? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like right now, I'm in a so much of a better place, but I can't even say that I'm comfortable. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I can't
Yeah.
say because even in the place that I'm at, I know that I'm constantly growing. Things
Mm-hmm.
things are constantly changing. And I don't know which way the breeze go blow tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You have to be ready for
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yes.
So I tell people all the time, like, be
Mhm.
ye also ready at all times because you don't never know.
Oh no.
And see, Q, you know what?
Listen, yep, she all on it.
You
Listen, you already know she
Come
all
on,
on
you.
it.
Come on, girl. Come on with it. That's
Listen,
right.
right. See, see, there you go.
listen. See, exactly.
See,
See,
just like
this is all I needed to have one on the show, the other one's in the comments.
see,
That's right.
and there
Yes,
you go. Right.
absolutely.
So, like, one of the main things I always tell people, and one of the verses that I always like to throw out there so I can leave it with people, is where people talk about no weapon formed against me shall
Mhm.
prosper.
I prosper.
Right? People love to use this
Yeah.
one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people all the time, well, first of all, you got to be slow with that verse. And the
Yeah.
reason why I tell you that is because half of the time, you really are your own weapon form.
Yeah,
And
you
if
are.
Absolutely.
Yep.
if you don't
That's the
understand
truth.
that you have already formed it yourself,
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the truth
you,
about it.
you sitting here trying to speak on and trying to say, well, no weapon against me shall form, but you already formed it.
You're
Yeah.
right.
You
Yeah.
already did it
You're
because you put
your
your
own
mouth
worst
on
enemy.
yourself, right? And you put your mouth on yourself.
Yes.
I,
Yes.
I, I
That's
tell me and Q talk about it all the time that we as people we self sabotage ourselves all the time.
yes.
Yes, we do.
All
We
the
are our
time.
worst enemies.
Everyday thing. It's an everyday thing that so many of us will talk ourselves out of something
Yes.
before you will talk yourself into something. Before,
Yes. That is
before
the
you will
truth.
speak life into it, you will speak
Yep.
the death of it
Yes.
before you will speak
Yeah.
life into it. And I tell people all the time, you better stop doing that.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
do you even realize what you're doing? Yes, some things need to remain dead, but there are some
Mhm.
things that you need to speak life into because if you don't,
Yes.
that is the key to
Say
who
that.
you are. So
Yeah.
you can't do that. And it's just like when we deal with women and men.
Mhm.
I tell the guys that I know all the time, sweetheart, look, let me tell you something. You a king and don't let nobody tell you different.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
And
right.
I tell the guys that all the time. I will speak life into a man, and the reason why I speak life into the men is because the men are the ones that carry the seed. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, they are the seed holders. We
That's
are the seed
right.
bearers.
That's
Okay,
right. You
we
better
are
break it
the
down and
seed
teach.
bearers. At the end of the day, if you breaking down that man that carries the seed,
Mm-hmm.
supposed to bear his seed, then what do you think you're gonna do to the seed once it come out your womb?
Woo, girl,
Girl, you
you
better
better go ahead
say
and
it.
preach that.
You're gonna do the same thing to it because you don't know how to treat the seed. You don't know
You
how to
Yep.
better
treat
go
the woman.
ahead and
Yep.
You know what
preach.
I mean? So at the end of the day, we
Yes.
as women have to stop tearing down men that already get tore down a
That's
thousand
right.
miles from everybody else.
That's
Don't
right.
tear down what's supposed to belong to you.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying? You're supposed to be the help me, the rib. At the end of
Yep.
the day, if you tearing it down, what you think you're doing to your own body?
That exactly.
You
Exactly.
came out of it. You know what I mean? So, so
Amen.
at the end of the day, you don't want to give this man no credit, but you came from him.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. So I'm just telling you, a lot of people don't like to hear it when I talk
Right.
like that, and I get a lot of feedback from a lot of different ladies. But at the end of the day,
Hey,
ladies, I need you to understand that you need to stop doing that.
the truth
Mm-hmm.
is the truth.
Even if you have a child by this man and you feel like he's not doing what he's supposed to, you still hold him up. Don't
Yeah,
talk bad about him to your child because
that's right.
you not doing what's right when you do that.
That's
First of
right.
all, why you thinking that your child gonna look at him side eye, your child gonna look at you crazy too.
That's
Because
right.
Yeah.
all you got is negative things to say about my father. That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a
You're
situation
speaking the
where
truth.
you,
You're
where you
preaching.
want the child to look at you, but that's not it. That's not it. At the end of the day, I understand that you might be hurt and you might be a little burnt by whatever he did. But People do like to do that. Hell has no fear like a woman scorned. You could be scorned all day, but you still better be careful and watch your mouth.
Yeah.
So that's
Telling the truth.
that's what I tell the ladies. You know what I mean? And even when I talk to the ladies about them, have enough respect for yourself that you don't go after something that don't belong to you. So you know what I mean. And I got a lot of people when we did the side chick mentality conference. You know,
Mm.
people was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, that's the name of the conference because you need to get rid of the side chick mentality." I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Today, some of y'all don't even realize you side chicks,
Yeah.
Right.
and then
Yeah.
the ones of y'all that do, you so cool with it, can't nobody tell you nothing." I said, first of all, you so cool with it, but do you realize that you sharing somebody, and while you sharing him, you being shared too?
Mm.
So
Mm.
Speak on it.
you want to call yourself this and that and the third, baby, you ain't nobody. Because
Exactly.
while you sharing him, you are being shared.
Yeah.
Understand that when he come to you, he probably bringing 4 and 5 other chicks on top of you and his wife sitting at home. So,
Yes.
and you gotta understand that when he comes to you, you creating multiple soul ties because you don't know who he slept with before
That's
you.
right.
Yep.
You don't know who he bringing to you today. And then when he leave, you feeling some kind of way and you trying to figure it out because
Mm.
he just tainted your whole entire being. And
Yep.
you
Yeah.
Done brought
Yeah.
all that energy from everybody else.
and
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
you
That's
allow him
right.
to. So when we go through all of the stuff that we go
Mhm.
through, like I said, honey, if for me it's straight with no chaser.
That's
Look,
right.
at the end of the day, if you a
That's
side chick and that's what you want to be, have fun with that.
right.
But
But don't say you ain't know.
right, don't say you didn't know, and don't continue to try to get this man to leave somebody that
Yeah.
That's
you
right.
know he's not gonna leave. He already been with her 13 years. He ain't left
Mm-hmm.
yet,
He
and
ain't going nowhere.
you done stuck around for 13. You foolish.
Woo!
You so let's
That's right.
right. You foolish. Like you know what? At the end of the day, first of all, you gotta
Yeah.
know you got more value than that. Where
That's
Yep.
somebody
right,
where
sis.
you
Know
got
who you are. Know your
that
worth.
you his priority, you got somebody out there that's been willing to make you a priority, but you bypassed him and passed him over.
Mm.
You
Yep.
know,
Mm.
so I hear so many women all the time talk about, oh, I want this type of dude, but then when you get it, you don't know what to do with it.
You don't know how to bring
Listen.
him.
Do with it because you
Sis,
don't
don't get me started on this one. Okay, I'm trying to stay in my feet right
go there now. Look, they
now.
don't know what to do with it because they don't know what to do with themselves.
That's right.
Like
Absolutely.
the other day,
Love yourself first.
Girl.
Love
you know,
yourself. Respect yourself first.
I told somebody, I said, look, I said, first of all, I didn't have nobody to teach me how to be a wife.
Mhm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
knew that in order to be a wife, I had to be able to cook. I had to
Mm-hmm.
clean. And I said, what man you know gonna want a lazy woman?
Mm.
I've never been without a
True.
job.
Mhm.
Never been without a job. So at the end of the day, what man you know gonna want a lazy woman that he got to go out and do everything, bring the check and all that's all you good for is to go spend it.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
can't do nothing else. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like who taught you how to
Right.
do that? Look, when I mean I've done marriage retreats and all of that, and when I did the last marriage retreat, they was like, look, when we having another one. Look, I mean, I go into it, I go into everything at the marriage retreat. We're gonna talk about it
Mm-hmm.
all. We're gonna talk about the sexual side of it,
Yeah.
parts of you that you don't want to deal with. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about it all. Because at the end of the day, if you want to talk about the whole being of a relationship, you got to talk about everything. Now, when you talking about people that ain't married, when you talking about folks that ain't married, you know what I mean? I can only divulge so much on the sexual side of things because
Right.
that you gonna go do what you want to do. But when it
Right.
comes down to married people, you cannot be a wife and withhold yourself from your husband. When
Yeah.
you do that, what you think? Oh, look, come on now. Let it don't take a rocket scientist to
I
add one and
figure this
one
out.
to know that
Yeah.
Yeah.
this ain't true.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you withholding yourself from your husband,
What
I
you
don't
think
care
gonna happen?
how faithful and how loving you feel like he is. At some point, this man gonna get tired that you ain't doing it.
Yeah,
Okay?
because he
And
gonna be
when
like, you not giving it to me, somebody else is.
so at the end of the day, that's when you
Mhm.
know people can spot vulnerability
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
it's a dollar walking around on the ground. Like I'm trying to tell you now. So when people see this type of stuff, That's a lot of stuff that I had to deal with when I start the couples. I don't talk about anything you do in your bed that don't involve a third person. That means your bedroom is undefiled, but don't you bring nobody else up in there. When you
Yeah.
bring somebody else up in there, that you done crossed the
That's
line.
when you bring a problem.
That's when you bring problems into your house. But
Yeah.
whatever y'all do between you is your business.
Yeah. Don't
There
you
ain't
know?
nobody else's business.
Yep. Don't be going to give all your information out to your girlfriends, to your homegirl.
Right,
Nothing. Keep all that
right.
to yourself.
You don't divulge and tell your bedroom business to your single friends.
Don't do that.
Okay? To your single
Don't do
friends.
that.
That's what I said. Because it don't be the married ones that
Put
you
yourself
talk to.
up.
It's the single friends that you go and tell. So,
Yes, and then they want what you had, so now it's
right.
like,
Right. You
like
make that
I
walking back
Got
in
know.
there like,
problems.
Yeah,
Right.
like,
hey,
I,
Right.
look, I
Right.
heard what you do in the bedroom.
how you
Oh,
doing?
you
They're
can't
all
be
look,
telling no
look,
secrets.
let me have a sidebar conversation. Let me black your eye. That's what's gonna happen. Look, and then you finna be no sidebar conversation. Look, you know what I mean? So yes, let me let me tell you something. Honey, I used to fight back then. Don't think just 'cause I'm saved, I won't bust you in
Look,
your
he's
face.
still working on me. He's still working on me.
Right.
He ain't done.
Look,
He's not through.
look, that's why when somebody came out with that T-shirt, I might be saved, but you can still get these hands. Yes, you
Still
don't
catch me.
understand. You don't understand. You can catch them left and right. Don't play with me. So yes, look, I'm trying to tell you now. Yes, that I don't even play with. There's none of that.
Oh,
None of that. But I mean, if anything, yo, ladies have enough respect for yourself to not go behind something that ain't yours. Because when you do that, you sitting here and you mad, you salty for what? You can't
Right.
you can't be salty because you know you always been second. There ain't no need of being salty. None. None, none at all. There's no need for you to be salty. You always been second, maybe even third and fourth. You did not come in first runner up, and you ain't gonna never be. So don't be salty. Then you tell me that right there, I can't deal with when you got people who act like they don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, so I'm like, no, honey.
listen, we gave them a whole lot of tea today. We gave them a whole lot of testimony today, and a whole lot to think about the rest of the week.
Look, like I told you, like I told you, honey. Look, we can
Hey,
get
listen, it's all love. It's all
It
real.
is. It
Hey,
is.
like I told you, we can get into it now. Because
yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't hold back at all.
that's right. No, but listen, that's the problem. Like, we need to be transparent. We need to speak the
Yeah.
truth. Like, people need to hear the truth, whether they like it or not. You know, the Bible
Mhm.
says, "Whom the Lord loves, He disciplines." You know,
Right.
it is what it is.
And the biggest statement too that I need to undo with the ladies. Stop saying that you're praying for Boaz. You gonna always be praying for him because he dead.
Listen, there was, like I heard one preacher said, there was only one Boaz. Okay,
Okay. First of all, he dead.
right? He's
Let's
long
put
gone.
that statement out there. He is DEAD, dead, and he ain't coming back. Okay.
He's not being
First of
resurrected
all,
for you, honey.
if I give you the character behind Boaz, after he married Ruth, she died.
Yeah,
He died right after he married her. He never even got a chance to
right.
finish consummating anything. He died the same night, y'all. Okay.
Listen.
So
Okay,
look,
girl, yeah, go ahead so you can get him.
look now. I need to check. He dead. So what you need to do is just pray about who you need to be to the person
That's
that
right. That's right.
that's the prayer that you need to pray. Stop saying that you're praying for Boaz. Okay,
Listen.
he ain't coming. He ain't coming. Okay, so I just want to let you know he's not
Cause y'all
coming.
here, he not coming. Y'all
Listen.
heard that, right? All
Right.
right.
Been
We
10,
have
15
clarified
years.
today.
Yes, he is not
Wait,
coming. Okay, that's just like somebody said, "Well, oh, he raised Lazarus. Lazarus was the only one."
right.
Okay,
One and done. One and done.
he was funky and decaying when he went in and got him. Okay, don't look. I need y'all to get the script. What I'm
I
trying to
need,
tell
look, the Bible says, in all I get understanding. I'm gonna need y'all to get understanding right now.
you. Right, understanding and wisdom. I need y'all to understand. He said that wisdom is the key.
Ooh,
I I need y'all to catch the whiz and dumb. That's what you do. Don't be dumb. Okay, so that's where we at.
That's
I'm
where we
telling
at.
y'all, look. I'm telling y'all now.
Woo, y'all,
Yes.
we have been blessed today, Lord. We have been blessed.
Look, I'm
And
trying
see, this is why I said I'm gonna have to get you and Q on the show together.
Yes, listen.
I'm letting you
Where you
know.
at, girl?
Mommy
Where
told
are
her
you?
I'm bringing her back. So I need a part two with both of y'all together.
Yes,
On the show.
listen. She been firing on that keyboard, man.
Yep. Look, I need them both in here to preach to the people.
look,
Oh my God.
look, look. I tell people, look, you got to get it right for the saints and the ain'ts, honey.
Yeah,
Hello.
you do. You
Hello.
have to give everybody because we got to reach all souls, the good, the
That's
bad,
it.
and the ugly.
Yeah,
That's what
That's
we here
it.
for. We ain't here for one just set. We ain't gonna preach just to the choir. We ain't gonna preach
that's
just for the
right.
ministers and the pastors. We gonna preach for everybody.
That's
Because
right.
everybody needs something.
Let's be honest about it. Look, let me tell y'all, for the ones of y'all that ain't in the church, don't feel bad because you
Yeah,
got folks in the church that's still jacked up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Know
And
they
they
yeah,
jacked
still
They know
trying to
they
figure it
jacked
out
up and
too.
they ain't trying to get no type of deliverance.
yeah,
So
Absolutely.
don't feel bad. You ain't got no reason to feel bad at all. Just
yeah,
just
Absolutely.
understand, just understand that just because you ain't there yet, you in the right place.
yeah,
Yeah.
You in the
yeah.
right because at least you know where you at.
That's
Don't be one of these people that's you in church, you going along with the routine and the ritual.
that's right.
You come in every Sunday, you're there for Bible study and everything, but you still lost in the sauce.
That's right. You leave out the
Mm.
same. You came in empty.
You're still lost in the
Yeah,
sauce. Ain't nothing about you changed. Ain't nothing about your home life changing. Ain't nothing about your prayer life changing. Your spiritual life is jacked up, physical life jacked up too, and everything need to be fixed. And
yeah,
you know
Yeah.
how to fix it, but you choosing not to.
yeah.
You gotta
So
get your you gotta
right.
get your own relationship with
running,
God. And
running everywhere but to God.
Yeah,
Yep.
You know what I mean? We
Yep.
gotta stop doing that as people. Yeah, it's good to have friends. That's wonderful. But you run into everybody else and they ain't never turned to God one time
Mm-hmm.
about
yeah,
your whole situation and you wondering why it ain't changed.
yeah.
If you telling everybody
Absolutely.
else, you're not telling the source that can fix it.
Mm.
Absolutely.
So
Speak the
look,
truth.
I tell people look, you got four types of people in your life. You got frenemies, you
Mm-hmm.
got associates,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
comrades, and confidants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
you
Just
gotta
choose
realize,
choose them wisely.
right, and you gotta realize what you got in your circle.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you gotta know who's there and who's not and what position they play.
That's
Right,
right.
that's
That's
it.
right.
You gotta
Exactly.
realize who you got in your circle because everybody in
Mm-hmm.
your circle shouldn't be there.
Nope,
That's so
everybody don't look. Listen, some people you gotta take out the fear. You gotta let them sit on the sidelines. They can watch from afar and maybe learn something, but they don't have to be
Look,
right next to you. So
right before
absolutely.
2021 came in, I told people access denied. They was like,
Mm-hmm.
what you mean? What I mean?
No go.
What you mean? I just said it. Do I need to be any better than what I said? Access denied.
Nah,
right.
absolutely.
Access that you had to me in 2020, when you act like you didn't care for it, act like you
Mm-hmm.
don't care for it in 2021 too. That's what I
Right?
need. You know,
That's
Listen.
so access is denied. Where I opened myself up and gave you that type of space.
that's
Okay, I'm
Look,
not
you said it. Drop that
look
baggage.
right.
Back.
And because I talk to her about carrying dead weight all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
was like, look, I said I'm not carrying no dead weight in
That's right.
2020. At the end of the
It gets
day,
tiresome.
yeah, very tiresome.
It,
I'm
Yeah.
like,
it gets old. It gets tiresome. It's like, all right, I can't do this no more.
tiresome,
And
tiresome ain't even a word.
it's like it drains the energy out of you because they're taking the energy and you're not receiving it
That's
back.
right. And,
So it's like
and
you're giving, and they're just
That's
tagging, draining, and leeching. And it's like, okay, no,
you better say that word again. Leech.
leech,
yes,
Leech.
yeah,
yes,
leech.
yes.
And
That's
some
right.
people don't even understand. First of all, you got people that will put around you just for that purpose.
Yep,
That's right.
Just
That's
for that
right.
yep.
purpose. You
That's
know,
right.
that's what they were put there for. They were put there to be that distraction.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Just to
And
see
you got
how
to remember to,
they're able to break you down to make
yep,
you forget about
yep,
what you need to be focused on because they
yep,
you know,
absolutely.
no, sir, no, ma'am. Mm-mm.
Yes.
You know,
All right, folks.
I'm so focused in 2020. Y'all better
listen,
get tunnel vision.
listen. Look, I'm about to say you better wake up. It's
Yes.
2021. You better get with it and know where it's going.
That's
Yes.
it.
You need,
That's
you
it.
need to get off that train that everybody riding on and get on your own lane. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Find it. Figure it
That,
out. But
that's
Yeah.
listen, because it's a new year, new time, new things. Nobody got time for that. This is my season. I'm
right.
here to win, and I ain't here to carry
That's
no dead
it.
weight with me.
That's it.
That's
So
right.
everybody, Coco's gonna give y'all all her information where to find her. So then after
Mhm.
that, we actually went a whole 30 minutes extra for y'all tonight. So we
Yes, we
laid off
did.
some
It was
lazy.
good. It was good.
Good. So
Mhm.
tell them where they can find you at, and tell them where you when you plan on releasing your book so they can look for it.
Okay.
And we're pretty much gonna close it out from there, hon.
Okay. Well, y'all can find me on Facebook at Carmaria Coco Fenton. You can find me on Instagram at the Curvy Royal with my name attached behind the back. And you can find me, you can pretty much find me. I'm even on Google. So y'all can find me on
Google
Google.
me,
All you
baby.
gotta do is Google my name.
Hello.
And as far as my book is concerned, when it comes out in May, it's gonna be on Amazon,
Okay.
Barnes and Nobles, and it will be available on ebook.
Okay, because that's what
All
I need.
right, all right.
That's what I need to know.
Yes, yes, yes. As always, everybody, I thank y'all for tuning in for Testimonial
Yes, this was
Tuesday. We had an
amazing.
excellent service of food
Amazing.
tonight. Listen, she gave us a plate, she gave us a buffet, and some
Yes.
dessert beside me. And not just
Everything.
sweet tea. Like, you know, she gave us all of that plus more.
Yes.
I ask for everyone to please share the video, comment, share from other friends that you might think need to hear this testimony.
Mhm.
Constantly share. It's on my
Mhm.
author page, it's on my Victory of the Mind page, it's on my YouTube. So go to all these platforms and share it with your friends, share it with your family, anybody that you think they need it. And tune in next Tuesday. Once again at 8
Mhm.
o'clock, we'll be back again for another testimonial Tuesday. And we thank you. We love y'all. Be blessed and have a great week.
Yeah.
Toodles.
Bye, guys.